Welcome everybody to this webinar about how to detox a bowel. Maybe some people will think that this is not really important because, we don't talk about our bowel. And exactly that is the reason why we should go into it, because our unconscious traumas, our unconsciousness has this area as its ground, you can say so. So tonight we're going to do something that I've never done before on any courses. I've actually experimented on myself for some time, also when I was in Norway, and will now try it. And therefore you have to be very alert about how you feel when you do this. I think you will feel great because I have been feeling great all the way through with this exercise, where we're going to sink ourselves into the digestive system. And one of the reasons why it's so important is that the brain and the gut or the bowel actually works very close together. So close that if you have a depression, it could be because you're sad about something or something happened in your life and you have a trauma and all this, but it could also be because you have a problem in your stomach or in your gut, bowel. It could be an infection in the bowel, and that infection can actually be causing depression. So it's working both ways, and I think that's kind of interesting. So today we're going to work with our awareness, and we're going to widen the awareness because we're going into an area that was unknown before and maybe will become more known to you now. There's a reason why I don't like to say when I'm healing that it's me that's giving the sound healing or treating people. I mean, I treat them, I do my best to do what I should do, but for me, the body is so intelligent and so supremely fantastic made that who should I be if I tell that I should know better than the body? We know part of the functions in the body, but we don't know at all everything. I think it was at 5-10% that they know about the brain, and the rest they don't know anything about yet. So we have at least about 90, maybe 85% of the brain that we didn't use yet. So if you talk about God, you can talk about higher energies and higher intelligence, whatever you will call God. But I am really bowing my head for that intelligence. And that's why I think in these days where we have the corona crisis and people are talking, are we going to have vaccination, this and that? I am wondering why there's not more focus on strengthening the immune system and strengthening our bodies. I found the answer in an old conflict that was actually between Pasteur and Bechamp. Maybe his name Bechamp. I will just read a little bit in this book. It's called The Truth About Detox. I have also other books. I wrote about it myself in my book Help, but this one is very short and precise. I just read here. Whereas Bechamp's cellular theory noted that these germs that Pasteur was so terrified of were actually opportunistic in nature, and it was only then when the tissue of the host became compromised or damaged that the germs, the bacteria, began to manifest as a prevailing symptom and not cause of disease. Bechamp advocated not the killing of germs, but the cultivation of health through diet, hygiene, and healthy lifestyle practices like fresh air, getting good nutrition, exercising, sweating, detoxification, etc. Pasteur's germ theory, however, won the battle, and as a result, modern medicine is not concerned about the internal terrain of the person, me and you, but only concerned with killing the bacteria or the germ or the virus. So this conflict is from about 1900, a little bit before even. And at that time, it was actually decided which way we should think about our body. And I find it extraordinarily strange that we still keep to Pasteur's theory. Even Pasteur, before he died, admit that he thought Béchamp was right. Pasteur's theory is just to kill anything that we don't like, and we should not prepare ourselves for not being ill or anything. We should just get rid of it. If we get something, kill it. So we are not interested in the main reason for any illness. So in the gut, in our stomach, in our bowel, we have a lot of bacteria, a lot of so fantastic chemistry that I will not talk about this, because there are people that are specialists in this and you can read books about that. But the short thing I can say is that it's very good to have something like psyllium, because it's making your gut work very, very well. And also the flax seeds, I have here some flax seeds, and because they help your feces to get soft and to get easy through the colon. And there are many more things I will tell you about, but first we will go into what we're going to do tonight. Is we're going to sing our way through the digestion system. So I've been drawing, not very precise as usual. The body is a little bit small, the brain big. So what is very interesting is that when we have been singing on the Hannng song, on the endocrine system, the hormonal system, then the trinity that was leading and mainly in charge of the endocrine system was the pituitary, you can see it, pituitary, and the hypothalamus, and the pineal gland. This trinity was in charge. And how did we get it? We sang Hannng, which will lift the soft palate to stimulate the central nervous system. Then I've been experimenting in if this Hannng, if that could also enter the gut or the digestion system. And I found, yes, it can. It can also work, but the Hannng seems to work better for me. But I would like you to test that and try with different vowels also at home after we finish this, to see which vowel actually function best on the Hannng, Hing, Hung, and so on. The reason why the Hang could work well is because when you say Hang, Hang, then actually it's going backwards. The soft palate is more pushed backwards towards the neck. And here we have another trinity. It's the reptilian brain is up here, but here we have the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. These three is the brain stem, and they are in charge of the autoimmune reactions. That means the heartbeat, and when do you feel like vomiting? That's especially here in medulla oblongata. And when do you have to go to the bathroom? When will the contractions and peristaltic of the gut be? All kind of things. So that's why these three could be very interesting to join to all our journey into the unknown country, which is our stomach. So they are in charge of so many autoimmune reactions. Also the muscle contraction and relaxing, and if you would move very, very slow, for example, then you would activate, I think it's the midbrain that's sitting there. So, so when we say Hannng, just try to sing Hannng, Hannng, Hannng. It's going up. It's going more this direction back. And then there's actually an entrance into the autoimmune system that way. And usually you say that it just have its own nerve system. Yes, it has its own nerve system. You say that all the digestive system has, or the gut and the bowel and what you call it, the colon, they have their own separate nerve system. They can manage on their own. They'll just continue whatever you will happen with us here, more or less. Of course, they're connected, the two systems, but it has its own nerve system. It's called the enteric nerve system. And again, there are scientists that are doing very exciting experiments because some people actually talk about that the stomach and the bowel is much more complicated than the brain, actually. I think it was 100,000. No, I just have to write down how many nerve ends there were. 100 million nerve ends are there. Nerve ends, 100 million down there. So it's really sensitive. And I've also seen when people sing themselves free in my courses. Now I just had that one in Norway. I will also send a film out tomorrow about this week course where we sang with the waterfalls and rivers, and we were actually activating and taking in the pure water, which you can call restructured, because when water, we could see it come all the way up from the top of a mountain, and this kind of water, it has a lot of energy, and when we sing into it, we open ourselves to it and get that energy, and that means that we get high. We felt really, really good by being at the water. And this is also a way you can strengthen your immune system. Stay in the nature, stay close to pure water. And why I want to tell you this is that when we sing, we actually also structure the water of ourselves. So when we put our focus on the energy, will always focus the energy, and it will make a kind of mechanic energy support, and we will simply, as much as we can get in contact with it, the body will decide if it's ready for us to get in contact. Maybe it has to happen slowly, layer by layer. Accept it, because it might create a very big detox otherwise. So don't be too eager. Just let it happen how it should do. And you can say that the voice actually is functioning like the river. It's adding energy to your body and support it in doing what it's supposed to do. It's just like if you would get support by somebody. You're an expert in what you do, but you need more energy, you need help, and we give the body help. The same thing is that the more energy the body will have, the better it will be able to fight a virus or bacteria. Just like Bechamp was saying, that if we prepare the body and we give it strength, the virus cannot live in our body. So we try to walk Bechamp's way now. If some of you have problems, I know that. There's the Epsom salt will always make your muscles relax and empty your gut. And you can put a little bit in, half teaspoon maybe, in a glass of water, drink it, and it will relax your bowel. And in the same time, the body loves to have some Epsom salt. This is magnesium, so that's really good. It can also be nice to take a bath with it. And something else is that if you want to get rid of the candida or germs, things like parasites, and you also want your calcium to be balanced, and detox and many other things like detox the pineal gland and detox fluoride and things, the borax is very good. It's forbidden in Denmark, but they put it anyway in tablets. So I'm not so scared to do this, because when they sell tablets with boron inside it, even they say that it's life-threatening, the boron, then they put it in tablets, nature's own, for bone support, because it's so great for our bones. Another thing they sell in Denmark is also some medicines. For example, they sell medicine for the eyes. And before, in old days, you could have boron water, which was really magical curing medicament, and also Vaseline, like a kind of cream with a boron inside. It could heal wounds, anything. And now it's forbidden, like really forbidden. And we don't know exactly why. Nobody has explained anybody that. But you can have an eye cream from the medicinal industry that should help the eye, and it drops for the eye. And what is inside it? Boron. But they took the patent on it. So if they will put me to court because I show you borax here, we can say that it's in so many other medicaments. So because it's a mineral we really need. This is for cleaning metals, and it's from the blacksmith I got this. I'm also cleaning my stove and my carport and all kinds of things with it. It's really, really good material. You can wash your clothes in it. You can put it in your... This thing here is coconut oil, cold pressed coconut oil, and I added the Epsom salt. Very smart thing if you want to make a good habit. Epsom salt. I may add it, let's say 1/2 spoon of borax, 1/2 spoon of Epsom salt, and some natron, and some mineral salt from Himalaya. And I mix it very good, and I take a teaspoon every morning, and I put it inside my mouth for 3 to 5 minutes and spit it out, not in the sink, but outside in the grass or in a glass, and take it some in the garbage, because the pipes can be stuck with all that oil, coconut oil. So this is a really good thing to do every day, because then you have your magnesium and you have some boron, which will also take the candida. I tell you, it's really effective. And if you take too much, it will be over after 24 hours, and you will not be sick from it. You'll just be like, your hormonal level can be a little bit affected. Otherwise, you take B2 and it will all be lined out. Yeah, and then another thing, I just tell you what I got from Norway. It's not that I'm an expert in gut, but I tell you just what I learned and what can be great. Okay, now it's falling. It's called Old Man's Beard. So I have it here, like a beard. It hanged from the pine trees, and it's called Usnea lichen. I learned about it from a book before I went up to Norway, and I did not know they have it. This book, it can really, I think it's a very, very good book. I can really recommend this book. So we found a lot of this up in Norway, and I have now cooked it for 3 days in low fire, and now it's with alcohol and standing like this. And I'm going to put a spray with a glass and spray it inside my mouth, or my kid's mouth, or my husband's mouth, because this is antiviral medicine. And it's also good for the gut. It's good for so many things. So, and the writer of this book says it's his favorite medicine. He always brings it with him, because it is so... it's also good against cancer, anything. I mean, again, the big question is, why do we think that the plants are not good for us? Why don't we use them? And why is the artificial medicines better than the plants? I have never understood that. We're just, yes, we're just brainwashed with that, I think. In a way, because we're brought up that we have to go to the doctor, and the doctor would never give us a plant. They always give us pills. But there are so many plants out there. As another thing, I just fell out by reading some books of herbs. Now, this thing is chickweed. It's everywhere, and now it grew quite big, but in the springtime it's small, and it has white flowers, sometimes blue, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's a weed. And this is an eminent detoxer. You can make juice from it, you can make tea from it. It's a very good detox, and it's very good for especially Crohn's illness. I just see, where is it? I wrote it. Yes, it's here. No, it treats constipation and is excellent detoxer, yes, agent, and blood purifier. So you can also make poultices from this, equal parts chickweed, ginger root, and raw honey. You can put it on boil, you can put it on herpes, and sores. So that was for constipation. Now it's coming another one that is in the lawn everywhere. I don't know, this is a big one, but you can maybe see it now here, this way. The fruits are fantastic for the gut, constipation, and all this. And it's written here that it's been showing great results for leaky gut and Crohn's disease. And they are everywhere, you know. It's just to take the blood, and the leaves you can also press for the juice, you know, just down in the, there are lots of them. So it's easy to make a juice from this. So we have hope we can manage. Yes. Was there any more? Yeah, one more thing more. I like actually very much chicory. At first time I drank it when I lived in Israel for some years, when I was married to my ex-husband, who's Israeli, or was an Israeli, now he's in Denmark. And the chicory is a flower. I couldn't find it out there now because it's these bright blue flowers, a little bit like a daisy, but bright blue. And they have a root that you can dig up and roast, and then you have this chicory. It's tasty, and it's eminent for the stomach. A little bit bitter, and very good. Yes, now we think we have come to sing. And see if I have more from my list, what I had to remember to say. Where is it? Here it is. Yes, I have to tell you also that something that is very good, I tell you that just in case you have some effect of this meditation that we're going to have, is that if you will get a spontaneous detox, it's rare that you get it, but I have had some email from at least 2 people that have had, or 3, that had really strong effect of just doing the Hannng song, and that they stopped simply doing it. They sing ah instead, because they get diarrhea every time they do it and start to get headache and detox symptoms. So it's good to support the singing with detoxing agents like the plants I showed you now, and for example fasting, because if you fast, you will heal much faster, you will also detox much faster. But the problem is, if you can do it, if you're ready to do it. So a soft way of doing it could be that you don't eat after the evening meal from, for example, 6 to 7, and then you stay without food until next morning and pull it as long as you can. I mean, I'm now into rhythm that I can wait until 11:30 to eat. And then I have quite many hours, that the body has time to repair itself. because every time we put things into our digestion system, a lot of processes start. And it's like when we work in our daily time, they're working really hard in there. So give them a break to clean up the mess. Another thing, yeah, I have some things here, is toilet. When you go to the bathroom, I think they say that in the States, we say toilet here in Europe. I mean, actually, it would be better if you went out in your garden or in the forest. But I know you don't do that, most of you. But why? Because the natural position for emptying your bowel is to squat. Because you see here's the colon. Just make it a little bit more spread. So the colon is here, and you see the angle here? This one will be straight if you squat. But if you don't squat, if you sit on toilet, it will be bowed. And if you have a problem with your gut, things can get stuck here. So you can put a stool under your feet to raise the knees up. And then it will be much easier for you to empty yourself. If you cannot empty yourself, things can happen. Let's say you've been pregnant. Some of you women have, of course. Or you have had problems with the stomach, and sometimes it's widened too much out, the small intestines or the colon. It can be, it's usually it has a strong muscle, but if you have had too many things inside there and it has been stuck for a long time, the muscles can be very weak, and you can have a problem emptying yourself. So if you cannot empty yourself, then the result is that a lot of garbage is stuck here, and as the colon has very, very thin walls, it's flowing straight to the blood. And that's a problem, because then you have a toxification, and also you can have a leaky gut slowly, and where all the toxins are just flowing out. So it's really important to get it out. So there are two ways. You can take an enema. Here is this. This is the one for that. To clean it up until you and to eat good things for your stomach fast and eat good things for your stomach. This one, and you have this in here, and then water inside. You can read about this in the internet. I also have another webinar where I talk about this. So you can put water, you can put all kinds of herbal teas inside an enema, and like this, it's going straight into the body. It doesn't have to go through the digestion system, and it's very, very, very fast to get medicine or herbal medicine inside your body through the gut if you keep it in there for 10-15 minutes. For example, chamomile tea is very mild. You can put aloe vera if you have an infection, for example. So many things you can do. The last thing you can do if it's stuck there and you can't get it out is that you simply can put a glove and you can pull it out, and wash yourself with a shower, hand shower, and just wash it, because then you will have no hemorrhage. If you have hemorrhage, it's because you are using the paper. So please wash yourself. It's just a matter of a good habit. I'm doing it. I got one installed close to the toilet, and the others from family laughed from me. But I have a very good condition then, because I wash myself, and it's much better feeling than using the paper. It's much more clean. Good. I think I had no more things to say, did I? Yes, drink high quality water and drink enough of it. I think many of us, including myself, I forget to drink. And the days I forget to drink, the stomach, you can feel it. Why? Because the colon is, all the food is coming down here. the bile from the gallbladder, and there are also some liquids from the pancreas coming in and doing all the breaking down of the food here, and it continues here in the duodenum, I think it's called. This is the first part of the small intestine, and that's a lot of things happening here when the food is broken down also. And then in the other parts, the food is nutrition is given to the body from here. Then you're coming down. It's a mess here. I mean, I can't. It's so 3 meters something, maybe more here, and it's so it's have so many angles in order to get as much surface as possible. So we've and a lot of touch, like they call it touch. I don't know if it's also in English, like small hairs that is hair on the hairs. And when you count all this, we're coming to kilometers of small intestine if you count everything. So it's really something here, very complicated. And in the end of that one, it's sesum. It's coming out here to the colon. And again, here we have an exit into the colon. And this place, you can sometimes have pain there. Like in the right side, it's like you feel like a small knife coming down. And I had it once. It can also be psychologically. You can simply have a pain in this place. It works together with the brain and the emotions. And also here is the appendix down here. And it's so smart made that it wouldn't be smart that it went straight to the appendix. It's simply here, and then some of the bacteria can be falling down here, that we have a bank of bacteria here. If, let's say, we would have an antibiotic that will kill all the bacteria here, we have some here that can grow and come back. So it's going all the way through here, the food, and then from here, now we come to the water. Now it's all been fluent, the food, until now. Otherwise, it would have been stuck here in the small or more narrow intestines. So now we're coming out to the big colon, and now the colon will suck all the liquids out of the fluent stool. And it's also sucking the salt. So slowly, it's becoming like harder. And that's why if you drink too little, or if you don't have eaten any like fruits or softer things that will help the stool to become nice, then you will have like stones. You will simply have stones, and they can really be painful, and they can also harm your colon. So when we eat, don't think about yourself. It's just like you really have to think about what it's doing to your colon, you know. So drink a lot of water, and also, for example, in the morning, the first thing when you've not been eating all night, then you will the gut is thirsty in the morning because it did not have food all night. So if you would start eating, then it's the first thing that will come here, and it has no water, and that will make very hard stuff here down here. So please, the first thing you do in the morning, drink water. Drink a big glass of water, or 2 glasses. The first without any lemon, because it can wash everything. It's like washing. And then the next one maybe with a lot of lemon. Some people say with lemon from the first glass, some say not. You can choose what you want, but so it will just wash all the system when you drink water. And do it a few hours before you eat, maybe even, and let it suck all the water it needs. Then you have the base of a good digestion. So that it's not too thirsty, your colon. And last thing, if you have hemorrhoids, push them inside again. I mean, don't be so afraid to use your hands. Wash them very nicely after, because it's too painful to have an infection down there. It's not worth it. Good. Okay, we're coming now to the singing part. So, first we're going to say the Hannng. Like we did before, and you can also, if you followed the other webinars, what I hope you did, we have to use our stomach. And something else you can do, actually just this movement is very good for the digestion. You can even do this movement just by exercising. It's called the seesaw. And I have it also written in my book, The Note from Heaven, how to do it. You can do it partly in the chest, and then in the stomach, and then to make the seesaw between the chest and your stomach. This is very, very good for digestion. It will make a big difference, and also movement in general. But this, to move the stomach like this, is very good. So now when we sing Hannng, you press the stomach inside while saying the sound. And now be aware that the Hannng is lifting your soft palate up towards the nasal cavity. Then try to say Hannng. 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 Can you feel it's going more backwards? The Hannng. I hope you say yes. And then try to experiment with the two sounds. What feels the best when we now do this journey? We're starting at the pineal gland with the Hannng. And then, instead of going to the hypothalamus and the pituitary, we will go into the brainstem. We start. Are you ready? Try to get contact with it, focus on it, and sing. And as the pineal gland is in charge of the body's natural detox system, it has a big part of that. It's very important also to stimulate that. Now I get really already tired because melatonin will also be secreted, so we better go on. Now we go to the neck. We go to the pons, to the here, in just in the under the reptilian brain, and it's also called the formatio reticularis. All this down here because it regulates the autoimmune reactions. So we go into the top of this, and now I can feel the Hannng is not working so well. So I feel like saying the Hannng. And then you go gradually down to the punch. That's a little bit more down in the neck. And then down to the medulla oblongata. We're not now down behind the thyroid gland and the vocal cords. And you might be like tired of falling in a deep meditation when we now go into the stomach. So now we will go into the mouth and all the way down into our stomach. It's like a bagpipe. It's actually also made a bagpipe. I think it's made from the stomach of a cow. Take your time. And I hope you didn't just eat, because now we're going down there. If you ate, there are some things down here and there's some liquids now working on the food, but we don't mind. We go through it. Try to feel your stomach. It's from here. You're coming in here and it's going a little bit to that way and then that way, and then it's coming back to the right again, like it's going like this. So now we go down out of the stomach, the duodenum. This is the pipe that's going out of the stomach, and it's going from the right and make like a hook out and then into the small intestine. And that was here that there was a lot of the food was really broken down here also. Into the small intestine. Try to see if you can get in contact with it. There might be some emotions coming up, but not more than you can take. And if it's hard for you, you can also sit forward a little bit. And then you get a better contact maybe. And it would be better to lift your feet on a stool, but you don't have that now maybe. But you can experiment with that. You can also lay down and put your knees up on the bed and do it. Your small intestine will lead you around. I feel like I'm led to where to go. Yes, and now when you are coming through the small intestine, then I would recommend you, you don't always have to do it, but I would drink some water now. Just in order that you have something for your colon. Yeah. And now we're going into the session. That was a small entrance between the small intestine and the colon, and that's over here. It's a little bit here, so it's here, and that's also where you can sometimes have this kind of pain in there. You could think that you have an appendix, but it's not. It's actually a little bit above the appendix. So, and then we ascend, go up through the ascending colon up here, and that way around it's hanging a little bit like this under this here, hanging here, and then it's going down, all the way down, descending. So that's a ascending one, transverse, and descending down to the rectum. So let's do that. We're coming from here, down here. We start here and going up and down and down and up. Sådan. Now I might have met something. If you have a very, sometimes you can't say the sound, it's because you meet something down there that you might not be able to resonate with. So just accept it if you can't do that. Maybe you made your evening meal, you know, what an experience. And all the way down to your rectum. Now try to contract your rectum while singing. We're pushing always out, but more rare we're pushing in that way. So it's very good for the muscles down there to strengthen them, to contract them and pull in. Now we continue up through the spine, through the tailbone, up along the spine, and we'll now work on the hung. You can still experiment with different vowels, what feels the best, but for me, the hung feels best. That's why I'm doing it, because the hung seems to be working best for the nerve system. And we're going through the spine all the way up through the neck, the brainstem, and up back to the pineal gland. Maybe you can do all the way up there in one breath. Maybe you need more breath. You do how you please. You can do it several times also if you already finished. And when you reach the pineal gland, you stay a little bit here and just make a small travel up, like you have a spiral up here. Maybe you feel that you're connected upwards. You're connected with all universe, like your gut and your brain is. Come back slowly, slowly. Just sing yourself the way back from your antenna. That's very, very thin antenna up there. And sing all the way back through the spine, all the way down to the tail, and feel like you also have an antenna down into the earth from your bottom. And let it spiral into the earth like a long, long tail. And one more time, all the way up from the universe and down to the ground. In this way, come back slowly, breathe deep. In this way, we connect the universe with the earth, just like the plants, vegetables, animals are doing it. We are fed with food that had pulled in the sunlight, the energy from the environment, at least if it's a positive and clean, natural environment. It's full of energy, and this food will be processed through us and given back to Earth. And actually, we are also, just like the animals, transforming energy from the universe, from the stars, from the sun, and giving it to Earth. So it's a very beautiful and important process, the digestive system. So remember, next time you eat or drink, that it's just not something you fill into a plastic bag. It's actually a living creature that you have inside yourself, and wrong food might cause yourself a depression simply. A lot of wheat, for example, that is full of glyphosate will destroy your gut. You can read more about that in the internet. But vegetables, fresh vegetables, and fruits, berries can be very good for your digestion. That's why vegetarian food or partly vegetarian food is really important. Get salad, get fresh fruits every day. Caring for the